With a management shakeup and calls for a clear new strategy, it's been a bumpy road for Twitter since its last earnings report. Just about every analyst predicting yet another quarterly operating loss for the tech giant in anticipation of today's earnings report for the microblogger. But heck, Jack Dorsey says we're going to periscope our earnings. In fact, he just tweeted out in the last hour, hello, get Periscope to watch our Q2 earnings prepared remarks and Q&A. We go live at 2 p.m. Pacific. Should this worry investors, or should they be all geeked up? Let's bring in billionaire investor Jeff Green, who started shorting Twitter when it was $72 a share. Right now, it's $36 a share. So that play worked out very well for Jeff.
This stock is up, what, 5% now?
5% today.
Yeah.
Fox business reporter Charlie Gasparino as well. First off, Jeff, how closely will you be watching this Twitter earnings report?
Well, again, most of my short I've closed out. I actually held on to a very small part of my position, and today I sold a straddle on it because I was able to get 15% for an at-the-money straddle. And, you know, my view is that from 36.50 where it is now down to 15% lower, just over 30, it's probably a pretty good value just on takeover value alone.
Hold on, at 30, you'd wait for it to hit $30 before you'd say it's a buy?
Well, look, I mean, the floor that exists under Twitter is largely because of takeover rumors.
Yes.
I mean, you know, after 9 years, you know, look, it's trading at 200. If they make the 4 cents, it's trading at 228 times earnings. This company is 9 years old. I mean, that's 228 times earnings is okay for a company that's pre-IPO or for the first couple of years. But I think that the investment world is losing patience with Twitter.
I agree 100%. And here's the thing, and why is the stock up 5% on what's likely to be not great earnings? You know, Kara Swisher, who I have a lot of respect for, one of the best, maybe the best tech reporters out there for Recode, had an interesting analysis on who might be the next CEO. But even more important, when you read into it, she gives her 2 cents on the possible takeover. And she said there's always a possibility of this. And she basically says that there's interest in them.
Well, you've said this.
I know, I've said it too, but this is why the stock is up right now. And, you know, I've said Facebook possibly, and I've said it the other way. I've said it that the firm is now is open more than ever before to a sale. She said there's interest essentially from Google and SoftBank. And my point is, and I think this is what gets what Jeff says, and Jeff, correct me if I'm wrong, you're saying the floor at 30 that's when, I mean, shares actually have to go down before this thing becomes a sale, because, you know, no one's going to pay up for it now. Is that essentially what you meant, Jeff?
Yeah. Well, look, I mean, Google, I think, was going to pay $9 billion 4 years ago. So, you know, at this point, it's certainly worth more than $9 billion. I think anything around $20 billion is probably a good value for those companies, and right now it's trading into 23. So it's not a crazy price where it is, but will there be a premium, a big premium for today's price? Unlikely. That's why I sold the straddle, because selling that straddle that goes up another 15%, I'm happy to be out.
And what about this, you guys? Insider selling, meaning people who either sit on the board or who are top executives. This is from the NASDAQ website, which showed that over the past over the past, I believe, year, 216 insider sales versus 33 purchases. You got people in there looking at this thing and saying, I know from the inside, I got to get out of here. I mean,
Well, Liz, if revenue's gone, they're projecting $481 million this quarter versus $435 last quarter. That's just not the kind of growth that is acceptable for a company that's trading at 228 times earnings. Well,
there's 2 ways to look at the insights. I mean, there was a couple of comments on your tweet about the insider trading from some smart Silicon Valley types that said, well, these are guys that held on for so long, you would expect them to sell some of it. Maybe true. I mean, there's always a reason why. There's always more than one reason. My point is, one of the reasons why I think they're selling it is because they know this is not going to be taken over, right, at this price.
Right. It'll be 30, like Jeff said.
Actually has to go down for this. Listen, is it takeover bait? Of course. Is it, you know, would they like to sell? Yeah.
Okay, let me just.
Will there be a buyer? It has to go down.
Jeff, I don't know if you're, hold on, Jeff. I don't know if you were watching yesterday, but we need to let Charlie take a victory lap on DuPont because, listen, we all watch the activist investors, and Nelson Peltz has said this stock would not do well in earnings. Sure enough, it missed this morning, Charlie. You told everybody yesterday.
Right, and it missed. The stock is back up a little bit. It's off its lows.
So what does Peltz do now?
He's going to come back at some point. I mean, he does not like the CEO. He thinks she's a very weak CEO. and he's going to pounce when the time is right. Now, the stock it was down initially pre-market, something like 5%. Now it's only down 1%. I think there needs to be another shoe to drop for him to make the move. But
Jeff,
he would like another CEO.
Jeff, do you know Nelson Peltz?
Yes, well, he lives in Palm Beach part of the time where I live.
And you think he'll stick with this stock and continue to agitate?
He's a very, very shrewd, very smart guy. So I wouldn't bet against Nelson Peltz ever.
Well, we wouldn't bet against you, Jeff Green. You made a great call on Twitter. And Charlie, thank you very much. Jeff Green and Charlie Gasparino. Stay tuned.